Recording.
Hello and welcome to the Voice of Rio Grande. Today's program will focus on the role that grants play here at Rio Grande Community College, and we will talk about how they affect our region in Southeast Ohio and what to look forward to in the weeks and months ahead. Hello, my name is Klein. I'm the Dean of Rio Grande Community College Programming, and I'm joined today by our Director of Workforce Development and our Grants Coordinator, Mr. Ian Blache.
Thank you. It's a pleasure to be here.
Nice to have you here.
Yeah, absolutely.
Good. So let's open up on a slide and take a look at a quote. So just to say that we read it. If you want to go quickly, go alone. If you want to go far, go together. We need to go far quickly. So how does that relate to grant writing and development and grant usage?
Okay, a little background on that quote.
Yeah.
Al Gore, I believe, said it in his Nobel acceptance speech, and then it also recurred in his appearance on the television show 30 Rock. Now, he was talking about the environmental crisis, and he was making a plea for both concerted collective action, or a group of people working together, and individual action, and how it can't just be one or the other. We actually at this point have to do both if we're going to go far quickly.
Okay. So grants often are created either as an individual response to a situation or as a collective response to something larger, or in our case, more precisely, regional.
Yes, that's exactly right.
Okay.
I like to say that, well, first of all, people think of grants as a bucket of money that is being dispensed to you to do something, to solve a problem. Well, actually, sometimes they don't even get that far. You just think of it as money that's being delivered. But grants are important because they actually are associated with a given problem and a given solution and a given resources to create both of those. So, so I like to say that grants are one in the planning stage. And it's important to make sure that you have your strategies aligned, that you have your partners aligned. And so all of those things are what contribute towards you winning the resources to attack the particular problem.
All right. I appreciate that explanation. Let's take a look at some of the things that are in the works, as they say.
Okay. Yeah.
Okay. So first of all, we are going to show you titles of individual grants that have been applied for, some of which have been awarded, some have not. So let's take a look at the first one here, and it would be work prescription. Okay. So this one's definition, if you read it. Okay, if you read this definition.
Project WorkRx.
Yes.
Prescription for the emerging pharmacy technician workforce crisis.
Okay. So we have a pharmacy technician problem. We're about to have a problem.
We could be about to have a problem. Pharmacy technician is an important role in our region. There are a number of jobs that are available. Employers have difficulty filling this position in a lot of cases. I think the most recent search I did showed that between here and Athens, there were about 98 unfilled pharmacy technician positions.
Okay. So when I go to a pharmacy and I go up to the window and I have my prescription, pharmacy tech person is the one I hand my prescription to, or who may check me out if it's already filled?
They perform a variety of tasks that are related to exactly what you're saying. You know, they're the ones who are responsible for making sure that patient information is correct. They're the face of the pharmacy to the patient. They administer drugs at bedside. So if you're in a hospital and you don't want to take your medication, it's difficult for you to take your medication, you're going through an ordeal anyway, having a well-trained pharmacy technician know how to deal with you on a very human level is extremely important.
Okay. So the crisis coming sounds to me obviously like we don't have enough people, and maybe more to the point, we not only do we not have enough people in this occupation, but we may not necessarily have them trained in the way that they need to be trained in the future.
That's true. As of last year, workforce began communicating to me that regulations were going to change. It's a bit of a complicated issue to explain, but very quickly, regulations are changing such that all pharmacy technicians have to have an increase in their education in order to be registered and licensed to serve. So if they don't have that education, then they can no longer work as pharmacy technicians. So you're taking an already challenged workforce pipeline, and you are adding difficulties that are going to require us to create different educational solutions and expanded educational solutions to keep them flowing into the workforce.
All right. So in the end, the work prescription
Yes.
grant is to increase the number of farm techs who are more appropriately trained as we go into the future.
Exactly right.
Okay.
Exactly right.
Let's take a look at another slide. This one is the GLOW project. I love this image on here. So, gaining leverage against opioids through workforce. Okay.
Right.
So, obviously, we're all familiar with the opioid crisis / epidemic.
Yep.
What would GLOW do for us?
So Project GLOW is basically, there are a number of different ways to attack the opioid epidemic. And in fact, we have to attack it all those different ways. But one way that we believe is going to be effective at doing so is through attention to our workforce. Now, we're partnering with Gallia County OSU Extension Office and a number of regional partners to create essentially a curriculum that will train people to work on the front lines of the opioid epidemic, because that's such an important role to be filled right now, and it is also proving to be successful in many cases. And those are called case managers or care coordinators. So they're the ones that basically help the help addicts who have a variety of issues: transportation issues, financial instability, housing issues, turmoil at home, and understanding how to navigate the complex medical environment is, as you might imagine, hard for someone who's not going through an addiction. But for someone who has an addiction, it's even worse. They've possibly been employed for a long time. So what the care coordinator does is basically serve as the conduit through which they reach the medical system, and helps them with a lot of these problems, and helps with follow-up, and helps communicate their issues with the hospitals and clinics and providers.
Wow, that sounds in part like just what we need, and potentially a very effective way of addressing at least part of the situation that we have.
Absolutely, and so what the GLOW project is going to do is it's going to train people to serve in that role in ways that we don't have currently curriculum for right now. We have a behavioral health workforce deficit that would be hard to overstate in our southeastern Ohio region.
Okay.
And it will also, I want to add, shore up or provide some additional expertise to our prevention, our rather robust, I would say, group of partners that are part of our drug prevention coalitions that are currently in our counties.
Okay. We're going to move. Thank you for that. Let's take a look at the next slide. This one is for Code Red. If you'd be kind enough to read that.
So Project Code Red, combating the Ohio drug epidemic through revitalized employee development.
So this is, in some sense, directly related, at least conceptually, to Project GLOW.
Yes, it is.
Okay.
Yes, this is. There are shades of difference. This is probably an opportunity for me to talk about Hidden in Plain Sight, which is a community training that gives parents the ability to recognize signs of drug use in their child's bedroom. So literally, this is another way that we can obtain funding to to put that program together, basically, and disseminate it to our counties. It's a training that I myself just went through about 3 weeks ago, and it's a harrowing training because what you basically realize is that there are so many different ways that that teenagers have developed to hide drugs in their bedroom, and being on the front lines and being able to know what to look for and what tips you off that there might be an issue is really important. We don't want to scare parents, but what we want to do is equip them with the resources and the knowledge to be able to get early identification when there might be a problem, and then be able to put them in touch with resources that will help them.
Okay, and Code Red would accomplish these things?
Code Red is, yes, as part of its strategy, it's doing that. It's also addressing the educational component to make sure that we have care coordinators in position for if we have to actually make referrals.
All right. So GLOW and Code Red could work basically towards similar ends.
Yes, they are both battling the opioid epidemic, and they're doing it in slightly different ways, but they are both attacking or addressing the educational piece along with the community action piece.
Yeah. I understand you had a statistic about a regional business that recently tried to fill a number of openings. Could you share that to give an idea of why we need Project GLOW and Project Code Red?
Yeah, when I first started my tenure here at University of Rio Grande Community College, I couldn't spend 15 or 20 minutes talking with an industry partner without talking about the drug epidemic. And to give you an idea of how these conversations sometimes go, recently a company was trying to recruit employees to fill a dozen or so positions, and performed about 143 drug tests. Of those, 141 individuals failed the drug test. And of the 2 members that did pass, they tested them a week later, and only one of them passed. So
clearly a compelling case for any number of responses, including GLOW and Code Red.
Indeed.
Okay.
Indeed.
And before we go to a break, these have been applied for, but they have not been awarded yet, correct?
Those are, yes, they're actually within the last 20 days.
Okay.
They've been applied for. Yeah.
Okay. And if awarded, when would they be able to begin?
So most of them, these 3 in particular, we're looking at a project start date of spring, late spring, early summer in most cases. Yeah.
Very good. Thank you. And with that, we're going to take a short break. You're watching The Voice of Rio Grande. Hello and welcome back to The Voice of Rio Grande. I'm Craig Klein, the Dean of Community College Programming here at Rio Grande Community College. And I'm joined today by Ian Blache, who's our Director of Workforce Development and our Grants Coordinator for the institution. And we're talking about grants that are in the works that have been applied for, and how they benefit basically just about anyone in our Southeast Ohio region.
We've got a lot going on, and we're trying to do a lot of different things for the region.
Let's take a look at another one now. So we ended talking about ones that help address opioid concerns and crisis intervention and those sorts of things. Let's take a look at something different. This is Project MOVE, which does?
Training the future truck drivers of the region.
Okay, this one has been awarded, correct?
This one has been awarded.
Okay, so we saw the big truck there. So it's probably not going to buy me a truck, but what will it do for me?
So we were able to acquire about $60,000 to, and the project we're putting together is going to provide scholarships for 10 individuals who may have been, this was in response to recent layoffs that we've had in our area, who might want to retrain to be truck drivers. So we're going to put together an application process where they can potentially win these grant dollars that will provide them a full scholarship to a program that's going to be delivered at our MEG Center, or Rio Grande MEG Center. Okay.
And so anyone who might potentially be interested in learning how to drive a truck, and I assume this is all the way through your licensing? and we call
Correct.
that CDL?
Correct. It's actually all the way through even connecting you with employers
Really?
who have openings that
That's
need to be
terrific.
filled.
And so this is essentially a scholarship
It is a scholarship
for 10
It is a
people, and it would pay the vast majority of the costs associated with getting the training.
Yeah, it's a little over $5,000 to go through this program, and it will be fully covered for those who.
And where would
qualify.
who would a person call, or where would they turn to ask for information about
We
this?
literally just found out that we were awarded this past week, so details will be forthcoming on that, and we will actually. I did set aside money so that we could promote this, and so we'll be able to provide that type of information publicly.
So coming soon in the next few weeks ahead.
Absolutely.
Okay.
We can even talk about it on a future show.
Okay,
Address it.
that would be good. I would like that. Let's go to another one now. This one is
Project Rise, reinforcing infrastructure.
yeah. Well, it was Project Rise. We have Project Bowtie.
We'll do this one first.
Okay, let's do this one first. Okay, tell us about Bowtie.
So, bettering Ohio's workforce through investment in excellence.
Okay, and what does that mean?
Okay.
And how do you better a workforce by investing in excellence?
Investment in incumbent worker training.
So this would appeal to area businesses and manufacturers.
Absolutely. This is targeted at area manufacturers, whether they want to obtain technical training or soft skills training for their workforce. We are in need of both sides. And there's going to be an advisory board set up, basically that creates it's going to be made up of those companies themselves to help create the process by which they apply for funding, and this will cover fully 50% of the cost of training that they want to obtain for their employees.
Okay. So a business says, I need to train the workers that I already have to do what? Be better at what they are, to advance within the organization?
First of all, I want to promote the idea that we love it when companies say, I want to train my workforce. Companies are restricted sometimes in terms of funding to be able to do that. It is important for companies that deal in technology to make sure that they have electrical training for their employees that are dealing directly with the electrical piece of their workforce, hydraulics, pneumatics, PLC training, a lot of the technical skills that are required. In some cases, they want to make sure that all of their employees are upskilled to the point where they're doing that efficiently. It's making the plant run better. It's allowing them to expand their lines. There are a number of reasons that you want to train your workforce on the technical side. Also, there's almost no conversation that I have with an employer where I don't hear that my employees need to have better soft skills, meaning that they need to communicate better, they need to have better problem-solving skills. This is legion across the country. And in our region as well. So there's going to be an opportunity for them to also secure that along with the technical training, that type of soft skills training along with the technical training.
That sounds terrific, and I sincerely hope that area businesses and manufacturers take advantage of this. So we'll be in touch with them.
I do too, and I believe they will.
Okay. Next up, Rise returns.
Project Rise here. Okay, we'll talk about this one now. So reinforcing infrastructure supporting employment. This is an interesting one.
Okay, reinforcing
infrastructure supporting employment.
Okay, so it's
you
kind
know,
of a visual engineering reference, but
right,
what does it do?
Well, so taking it from the fancy to the explanation, basically what this is if you think about some of our workforce issues, you might imagine that one issue could be that we have education over here, we have industry partners over here, the companies over here, and then we have the service agencies here that are in many ways, in many cases, helping people to apply for jobs or educate them so that they can navigate the application process. So you have all three of those that are operating independently, and what you don't have is the connective tissue always to make sure that that they're working together. That, for example, education knows exactly what programs they need to educate people for in their region, and knowing how to put students and employees, potential employees, in touch with the resources that will help them to apply for those jobs and prepare for those jobs in other ways as well. So what this project proposes to do is create a position in the middle. So basically someone who's actually doing the job of connecting all three of those.
Okay, good.
In addition,
Yes.
I want to say that another piece of this project is administering drug testing for students in our high schools. So this is going to reach out directly into the high schools and possibly early identify at-risk students and put them in touch with a professional counselor if that's needed. So so this will pay for that drug testing.
All right.
And I want to also just make sure that I say that this is a collaboration. Was a collaboration in the application process between ourselves and the Athens MEGS Educational Service Center.
Very good. That's great. And I imagine
that was awarded
these,
as well. $240,000.
someone's been awarded. So of the number of them that we've talked about now, actually Move and Rise have both been awarded.
Have both been awarded,
so
right.
they're ready to go. And I think it's really commendable that we have outside agencies and others in our region who want to partner with us as together we move forward on any number of initiatives and issues.
Absolutely.
Okay. So we do have something that not only has recently been awarded, but actually has a physical item that goes with it. So, and there is the physical item. What is that?
That is a manufacturing training trailer.
Okay, manufacturing training trailer. So meaning the student can go through the door there kind of on the right and go in
That's
and
right.
find a
That's
little,
right.
a little
They're
classroom.
going to see, yes, like
Okay.
a little classroom. We can actually deliver training right on that trailer. Currently, that trailer is parked in in Chillicothe. It's we're working with Kenworth. Our engineering technology department is administering an educational curriculum in Chillicothe right now. Kenworth, they manufacture trucks.
Sure.
And
this was part of a Rapids grant?
Yeah, this is called the Rapids Grant. So basically, Ohio put together a program where we actually secured $1 million as a consortium. Ourselves and other institutions in the region worked together to put together a proposal that would allow us to do a number of different things for all of us. Okay. And so manufacturing, that manufacturing trailer was there was also a healthcare aspect to it. There was also environmental safety training aspect to it. Those have associated equipment with them, but we wanted to focus on this one because it's one that we're actually right now in the community using. Okay. And that's the first round of Rapids. So we actually just we're successful in getting the second round of Rapids for additional equipment.
So this will continue.
So this will continue. Yep.
So the trailer we just saw obviously is mobile.
Yes.
So the other institutions that partnered with us would share this, obviously, so this will move around.
This will move around,
Okay.
move around the region.
So right now, we're instructing with it at Kenworth in
Chillicothe.
In Chillicothe.
Right.
But who knows where it might be in this greater southeast Ohio region at some point.
Yeah, and and I'll also say it might be down here in Jackson. It might be in Gallipolis. It might be serving one of our other industry partners.
Very good. And Rapids 2 would fund what primarily, or what's the idea?
So Rapids 2, we actually secured some additional manufacturing equipment, specifically servo motors, which is another very important piece of manufacturing on the line, and also healthcare. So we were able to get a sim lab, a simulation lab, which is actually one of those mechanized patients who talk to you, and you can train as someone in the medical field. You can train with someone before you actually operate on a real life patient or work on a real life patient.
So you train on a device that resembles a human being, like a mannequin, for example.
That's exactly.
But it
what
has
it is.
some electromechanical capacity.
It's
like
right.
It can move and talk.
It can move. It can move and talk to you.
Okay.
Yes, it can.
Okay,
Yeah.
that's terrific. Well, listen. In summary, before we go, is there anything else you'd like the public to know about the grants that we have? either applied for or in process of receiving or have received?
I'll just say that we have a number of grant projects that are going on, and a number of the ones that we talked about today were applied for just in the last month.
Okay.
So
we'll see how it unfolds as the
and
weeks progress.
it's important because, you know, for myself personally and for our institution, it's all part of our effort to reach out and really address the issues that are going on in our region and with the people that make it up.
Great.
Helping them.
Ian Blache, thank you so much for being on the show.
It's
We
my
deeply
pleasure.
appreciate it. And going to end as we began. We're going to put a quote back up on the screen. And while this is up, I will say for the Voice of Rio Grande, I'm Craig Klein. And for Ian Blache and myself, we thank you so much for joining us today. Take care.
Thank you.